Good evening. How is everybody doing tonight? I hope everybody had a really happy Thanksgiving. So, tonight we're gonna be talking about a topic. It's emotional intelligence. There's a book on emotional intelligence with Daniel Goleman, which is going to be the base of our topic of tonight. And you may be asking yourself, why is Martin doing this on Black Friday? Why he's not off? Because we don't stop. We don't stop. We got to keep going, and we are following the principles of consistency. So that's why we're not stopping. And Mr. Will knows about it. So hi, Will. Hi, Sergio. Thank you for being here, man. Mr. ElectricalTime.com is here too, and he's gonna be joining us tonight. I hope we don't have any audio issues. So I'm sure he has really good ideas and really a lot to say about emotional intelligence. So let's see if we can connect him. I hope we don't have the same issue. Let's see, Steve. Steve, are you there? Hi,
I,
Steve. How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I know it's late in New York, so I really appreciate that you're here.
But for anyone that's over 60, they have to be in bed by 10 o'clock. So it's 10 p.m. here in New
For
York.
sure.
But when we spoke earlier, you told me you were going to do this live stream. I said, you know what? That's an interesting topic. I'm going to stay up for that. So I'm ready. So let's learn about emotional intelligence.
So we're gonna start, Steve, with the definition. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage our emotions, as well as influence the emotions of others. Emotional intelligence, includes five core components that contribute to personal and professional success. So the five components is the number one is self-awareness, recognizing and understand your own emotions, knowing how your feelings affect your thoughts, decisions, and behaviors, cultivating self-confidence by being honest with yourself about the strengths and weaknesses. So that's the point number one, Steve. Self-awareness on how do we feel and how to react. Recently, I had a couple of friends. One that was having an issue with a customer, and he was really stressed out that he had to walk out of the job. So he don't say something that he could later regret. And another one, he was telling me that he was having an issue with a foreman, with a foreman of a GC at a job. So they were like almost jumping to a fight. So fortunately that didn't happen. But how do we manage those emotions, right? And here is saying that we have to be self-aware when we are like really mad.
Oh, sure.
What is your experience on that, Steve?
Well, I think that I was reading the comment here from Will. He says everyone married to a Latina needs to listen tonight.
Okay.
LOL. That's right.
Yeah,
So I'm married to a Latina. I know.
for
You know,
sure.
I'm gonna let her know later. But I've been on many job sites. Where either the owner or the general contractor or the designer or the architect or the plumber or the carpenter or the sheetrocker, they're all like arguing and everyone thinks that they're
Of
right
course.
and that everybody else is wrong. So, and I'm just going to talk as from the perspective of an electrical contractor.
Sure.
So many times when I get into the middle of this argument, and I'll give you a great example. You go to do the trim out work and you go to look for your light switches and you don't see them because the
Yeah,
sheetrockers covered up the boxes,
of course.
right? So,
It always happens.
right. So one time I went to go trim out. I know there was a four gang switch box, and I said, "Where is it?" And I knew about where it was, and I was able to find it and cut it out and do what I needed to do. My first reaction was to call up the sheetrocker and yell and scream
Okay.
at that person. Why did they do this? And they said, okay, let me not do that. Let me just inform the owner. Listen, we have a problem here. Your sheetrockers that you hired, they covered up our light switches. They covered up some receptacle outlets. They damaged some of our conductors. And in the contract, we do specify damage by others that the owner is going to be responsible for that. Because
Okay.
I can't chase after the sheetrockers. I don't have time for that. So I said, I'm going to, keep track of my time. I'll give you my bill for those extras. And sometimes the owners say, listen, we understand. And sometimes they say, I don't want to hear anything about that. You just do your job, fix whatever has to be fixed. Otherwise, I'm not going to pay you. Okay. In every negotiation, there's going to be two people, yourself and then that other person. I think we need to step back and listen and to try to understand the perspective of the other person. Maybe it's something we didn't communicate very clearly when we set up the contract. And I think the worst thing to do is when you have someone that's angry yelling at you, to yell back. Because I think that shows a very low emotional intelligence. We're there, to provide a solution. There's a problem here. How do we solve this problem together as a team versus you yelling and screaming at me or me yelling and screaming at you? And then before you know it, it turns out to be a fight. People
Yes.
are going to get punched, and then the police come, and then nobody's going to be able to finish the job because everybody's in jail.
That's why it's really important to learn about this topic, Steve, so we don't let our emotions affect our business or affect our um, our personal health, right? Because we can get in trouble, we can get punched or something. So it's important to keep that awareness and take a minute and analyze what are we thinking, right? Because sometimes we feel really angry and we don't think, right? We just go with the emotion, right? But sometimes they say the best way to win a war is by avoiding it,
Yes.
right? And this is important, like Will was saying, it's not only important on the business, but in life too, with your wife, with your kids, with your relatives. So that way you're not arguing with them all the time, right? And sometimes we're trying like, I'm the person that is right. I'm always right, and they're wrong. And sometimes it's not like that. We all are wrong at some points, right?
Well,
So
you know, um, I'm going to talk again as an electrical contractor. Obviously now I'm an electrical instructor now, but as an electrical contractor, I always when I first started, and I became to be very very good at my career. I thought that I was always right and everybody else was wrong, and it took time for me to develop my emotional intelligence. My technical skills were fantastic. I can go into a house. I'm mostly a residential electrician. I did some commercial. I did help on an industrial job a few times, but mostly residential. And I let my technical skills dictate to myself and to others. I'm the electrician. I know what I'm talking about. You have to listen to me.
yeah, for sure.
So whenever there was an argument, I noticed that when I let my lack of emotional intelligence take over, that's when the it escalated. It got worse and worse. So I learned the secret as I got older. I said, let me just keep my mouth shut. Let me listen. God gave me 2 ears. I'm going to listen twice as much as I speak. And I'm going to ask myself, am I wrong? Did I do something that I could have done better? Did I make a mistake here in whatever I was doing? And I think that's a very important skill that all of us have to learn, as, working as the apprentice electrician, how to talk with the journeyman. And if you're a journeyman electrician, how to talk, to the boss, how to talk to the customers, how to talk to the engineers, how to talk to the inspectors. Because everybody, if you ask everybody, they're going to think they're always right. And that's not possible for everyone to be correct. There's going to be somebody who's not correct, but they're not going to know that they're not correct. So sometimes when and I hate to use this term, and if somebody knows who actually made this quote, when you're arguing with an idiot, that idiot has a lot more experience than you, and they're always going to win from experience.
Okay. Okay.
If somebody can let me know who made that quote, so
Okay.
whenever somebody's arguing with me, I just sort of I just stop talking. I listen to them, and when they're done, I say, okay, I understand, and then I just walk away. There's nothing else that I can say to convince this person that they're wrong, because in their mind they're right. And I think the worst situation is when you get someone and they start using profanity, they start yelling and cursing at other people, because I think deep down inside they're insecure about their own self.
Okay.
So they put on this false persona. They put on this defensive, like it's a big shield. They're trying to defend themselves by talking loud, by yelling, by cursing, and it's because deep down inside, they might be scared, but they don't want to show you that they're scared.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I had that experience talking about that. I had that experience. I can say when, but uh, I had this issue when somebody was yelling profanity to a plumber, and I was like, man, I didn't know how to react, because I was like, why is this guy using that language? We're supposed to be professionals, right? I mean, we don't talk like that, but uh, being disrespectful, I think it shows the education of the person, or like you say, their insecurities, that they feel like they need to talk like that to show they have the reason.
um, years ago, we had he was sort of like an electrician and a plumber and an HVAC person, and we used to send him on all these different jobs, and we noticed that there were a lot of mistakes that were made with the installations, just a lot, not just a
Hmm.
little. And every time we asked him about it, he got very defensive. And when he was on the job, he would be yelling and cursing at the other employees, to make them feel lower. He wanted to show that he was superior.
Yeah.
What we found out, and it wasn't right away, we found out that he wasn't able to read. He couldn't
Wow.
read. So if we had a set of instructions, he didn't know how to read. He was a visual learner. He
Wow.
learned by watching
Yeah.
other people. And so we figured out, okay, but when I discovered that, I went to help him. I said, listen, I'm not trying to embarrass you. I'm just here trying to help run this company here. And if it's something that I can do, with your learning disability, let me know. Um, but I think we need to recognize that as mature people. And Martine, you're an electrical contractor. So, you're out there meeting customers. So you have to be able to communicate with your customers. You have to be able to communicate with the supply
Yes.
houses. You have to communicate with the architects, with the plumbers, right? The plumbers keep on
Yeah.
cutting our cables. The carpenters, right? They keep on cutting our cables. The sheetrockers, they keep on covering up our boxes. So we have to be able to communicate. And I think having a good, strong emotional intelligence is so critical, um, in my opinion. And Martin, can you go over the those 5 areas of emotional
Yeah,
intelligence?
let's go with the next one. So the first one was self-awareness. The number two is self-regulation. Managing your emotions effectively, especially in a stressful or challenging situation. Practicing impulse control, adaptability, and staying calm under pressure. Channeling emotions toward a constructive outcomes rather than reacting impulsively. So and number three is motivation, being driven by internal values and goals rather than external rewards, demonstrating resilience and a growth mindset in the face of setbacks, staying optimistic and committed to long-term success. uh, under, under, understanding and sharing the feelings of others, being able to read social clues and respond appropriately to others' needs, fostering strong relationships by showing genuine care and understanding. Number five is social skills, building and maintaining positive relationships, communicating effectively and resolving conflicts constructively, leading and collaborating with others to achieve shared goals.
Okay. So I heard self-regulation there.
Yeah.
So that's something that I've learned, being a husband, and my wife is Latina. And every time there's like we were getting ready for Thanksgiving, she made me crazy to clean the house. Like she was like nonstop. Oh,
Okay.
I gotta clean the living room, the dining room, take out the garbage, wash the dishes. Oh my God. And I said, okay, stop. Um, I'm gonna take care of this, okay? I
Okay.
got this. When I'm done with this, I'm gonna come to you. I'm gonna ask you, what do you need me to do next? So I was like the helper in my house. She was the
Okay.
AHJ. She was the authority having jurisdiction.
Okay.
So, and whenever she got like, starts going crazy, oh my God, I said, okay,
Yeah.
what can I do? What can I do to help? And then I've calmed her down because, okay, now she was thinking about what I can do,
Yeah.
and I think that's part of the self-regulation. If I were to have gotten, equally as crazy, I
Yeah.
think there would be no Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
I probably would be sleeping someplace else, not in my own house, right? So, that's just, my definition of self-regulation. I think about my wife when she starts getting all crazy
Sure.
on me. I heard the word motivation.
Yeah.
So, like Martine, what would be your motivation as an electrical contractor, to be a successful electrical contractor? You're dealing with a very intense situation. Let's say the electrical plans were not correct. And then, you're basically finished with the job, and now they come up with a revised set of plans, which requires you to redo your electrical service. Or now you find out that the sheetrock is installed, and now they want to run another 5 branch circuits. So, what would be your motivation as an electrical contractor to keep your cool and to keep the customer at that point? Like
Well, on that case, I think my motivation it will be the the customer, the
the customer,
customer.
the customer.
Yeah, because we want to. They're trusting us to do the work. Delgado Electric.
And
He's saying his motivation is the
it's
money, the
the
money.
money, that's right. Delgado, es correcto. Perfecto.
Yeah, let me say hi to.
Cómo se
Yeah,
dice motivation en español?
motivación,
Mo-
motivación.
Motivación, sí, es de dinero.
Yeah.
So,
What else is your motivation, guys?
if you got upset with the owner of the building, would that really accomplish anything for you?
No.
Right? you have a big fight, you walk off the job, and they say, "I'm never going to call you again."
Yeah.
But I'm sure because I happen to to know you, the kind of person that you are. I know you would be very calm and listen, and you would probably ask, "What can we do to fix this?
Yeah.
Let's work together as a team now."
For sure.
You know, you went
For sure.
and you changed the plans. Now there's extra work. We have to open up the sheetrock. Maybe the receptacle is going to be in the kitchen where they already installed the tiles on the wall, and that's a big deal when you have to go ahead and break things open.
Yeah.
So if it was me, Martine, I would try to get that contractor so that we can work as a team to
For
fix
sure,
this
because
problem.
we are a team, right? We are going for the same goal, right? To deliver a project completed for the owner. So we are a team, and we have to communicate, and we try to respect. I think respect each other, and even respect our guys, right? Because sometimes, like the foremen or journeymen or whatever, they're like using bad words
Oh yes,
on their helpers and stuff like that. So I think it's a time there where we need to be more respectful.
I've seen that where the apprentices and the journeymen, you would just hear every other word would be a curse word
Yeah,
out of their mouth, and I'm like, guys, what are you doing? What's going on
yeah,
here? I'm outside and I'm hearing like all these terrible words.
for
Can
sure.
we just focus on what we have to do? I know this is hard work. I know if you have to work in the crawl space, nobody likes to do that, but somebody has to do
Yeah,
it. Nobody wants to work up in the attic when it's 100 degrees outside.
for sure.
Somebody's got to do it. So maybe we'll do that in the morning, right? When it's not so hot. Let me know what the problems are, and let's try to figure out the problems together.
Yeah,
Um, and and
Sergio,
then and the,
Sergio,
and the worst part, if the customer is listening to the apprentices and the journeymen
yeah,
cursing, they're going to think very badly about our electrical contracting
yeah, for
company.
sure, for
So
sure.
everything um, gives a message to the customer about who we are as a company. Because if I hire people that are just cursing and yelling, maybe that's not going to be viewed as a professional organization.
For sure. Sergio is saying his daughter is his motivation. My patience is like a monk now.
Well, I got to tell you, Sergio, I'm very proud of you for being in our class at Electrical
Sure.
College. Very, very proud and honored that you're in our class, with myself and Martine. And, we've seen a lot of growth
Yeah.
in the last couple of months from you. So you're on a good
And
road, and keep
Sergio,
it
he's
up.
doing great work out there. So Sergio, keep it going, man. Keep it going. You're doing
Keep
great.
keep it going. And we got Tony in here. I know I've spoken with Tony before. Is that I think that's Tony that was in my class this week. I think
Tony?
I'm trying to I'm trying to coordinate everybody's Instagram with their real name.
Okay.
I think that Tony was in my yes. Okay, that was Tony. Okay, hi
Okay.
Tony. How are you?
Hi Tony. Thank you for being here. Now we have two monks. We have monk Sergio, and we have monk Milo. Milo is a monk too.
Okay.
Big
Um,
respect to you, Milo. So
the,
let me say
I heard
hi
the
to
I heard the other.
JJ. What's up, JJ? What's up, Delgado, Lampico? What's up, Philly? My friend Philly, Pacifico Electric. Thank you for being here, Philly. Mr. Jeff, the 360 electrician. What's up? Rene Ramirez, Hosania 99. What's up? Thank you for being here, Alexis FC. Jay Out, thank you, Ramirez X21, thank you, Ernesto Cueto, thank you for being here. Chris Tapia,
Chris
what's up,
Tapia.
Chris? Thank you for being here, Chris. Chris is killing it out there
Oh, he's
too.
killing it.
He,
Did you
man, and
see?
he's
Did
he's
you
a
see
really
the
smart guy.
picture? Did you see the picture with Chris and Mike Colt?
Yes, I saw it in San Diego, right?
So I thought,
Man,
when Chris showed me that picture of him and Mike Colt, I said, wait a minute, I'm the one with the picture with myself and Mike Colt. you know. But you know what? I said I was so happy when I saw Chris with Mike Holt, because Mike Holt is one of my
It's
mentors,
a legend.
and I do have the privilege of speaking with Mike Holt. Um, whenever I have a really interest, I wouldn't say when I have an issue that I have to try to resolve as an educator, because I'm part of I'm a certified instructor trainer by Mike Holt. So, I'll call up Mike and then we'll talk a little bit and he gives me some pointers. So that's great, Chris, if that you
Yeah,
were able
for
to meet
sure.
Mike Holt.
So let's
Um,
keep with that. Let's keep going with the key insights and applications.
how
So
the thing that you also mentioned
mhm.
in number 4, I think it's called empathy.
Yes,
Empathy is
empathy.
when you're when you're trying to relate to the feelings of somebody else. Um, what can you tell us about that, Martine? About the empathy? What?
Empathy is sharing, understanding, and sharing the feeling of others. It could be a customer, it could be an employee, it could be another contractor, a plumber, or a different trade, right? So being able to read social cues and respond appropriately to others' needs, fostering strong relationships by showing genuine care and understanding of others.
Okay. When I think of empathy, and I'm going back to electrical contracting because I think most of the people that are watching this are on the electrical business. We watch a lot of these Instagram videos where they show the electrician coming like the superhero, and they hear, "Oh, I'm here. I'm going to turn on the power," and they're getting everybody's clapping them and applauding them. The other trades that we have, the plumbers. I mean, you can't have a house without plumbing, right?
Of course.
You cannot have a house without the carpenters. You can't have the house without the people installing the drywall and the installation, the roofers, right? We're all important. We're an important part of building that house that people can live in, or the building. So I think what we have to do is to recognize that all the other trades, they're important too. It's not
Yeah.
just us, not just, "Oh, I'm the electrician. I know what to do. You have to listen
The
to
king
me."
of trades, right? The king of
I,
trades.
I think as soon as you start doing that, saying, "I'm the licensed electrician here. I know
Yeah,
what to do. You have to listen to me." You know,
yeah,
I think that's the worst thing to do. I think you have to
for
say,
sure.
"Okay, guys, we're a team. Maybe you picked the plumber and the carpenter and the other trades. Maybe you got picked to work with somebody new that you haven't worked with before, and you need to coordinate with those other contractors, and also I think empathy to understand their situations, and they need to understand your situation. And if they're not going to listen to you, you have to tell them, "Listen, I'm the electrician. These are the things that I need
Yeah,
to have, that you must do,
yeah,
so that we can have a successful project." Like, let's say the concrete encased electrode, right? We're doing grounding and bonding. So we have to communicate that to the builder, and so that they can communicate that with the concrete people to
yeah,
provide us with the OOFER, so that we can, do a proper job with our electrical installation. And they might not really care about that, but they will care when they find out that there's a big problem. It's going to cost another $5,000 to fix.
sure.
And I think empathy to understand the other people, the other trades, is very important, because next time when there's a bid, they're going to say, "Wow, you know what? Martine from Maple Electric, he was there. He helped to coordinate and solve problems. I want to have Martine there from Maple Electric next time."
Also talking about that is important because to keep a respectful relations with other trades, Steve, because they can send you customers too. If you're building a good relationship with them,
That's
they
right.
send customers to you, and you can send them customers when they need something. So look at it that way. Everybody on different trades, everybody is important. So you can't be disrespectful to other people.
I agree because if you're going to think as the electrician that I am the supreme being here, you
Yeah.
know you can't do anything until I turn on the power. Okay, they're going to remember that, and
Yeah.
then when the plumber has an electrical job, do you think he's going to give it to you?
No.
No,
No.
no,
Yeah.
I'm not going to give it to that guy.
For
There's
sure.
no way I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
The the other
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
you mentioned in the fifth one, social skill.
Yes.
Um, what is that? Can you read the definition of that
Social
social skill?
skills, building and maintaining positive relationships, communicating effectively and resolving conflicts constructively, leading and collaborating with others to achieve shared goals.
I think we just spoke about that.
Yeah, yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
yeah. When I go to a job site, let's say I'm doing an electrical inspection. Um, some electricians will look at me like I'm the bad guy.
Yeah,
I said I'm really here to protect you. Because if I see something that's bad, I'm going to let you know. We're going to red flag it. You're going to fix it. And then when it's fixed, let me know. I'll come back and I'll check it out. And it's really for the benefit of the electrician that we're making sure that everything is correct. And also, I think part of our social skills in communicating is to educate the other trades as to why there's certain things that are important, from the electrical perspective. Why it's not a good idea when they take the router and then they cut into our conductors when they're cutting out the sheetrock for the light switches or the
yeah.
receptacles, right? So even though in the 2023 NEC, they actually put this in writing now, and it was always assumed that you could repair a broken conductor. Let's say you have a box that's less than 8 inches in any dimensions, and that conductor has to stick out of the box at least 3 inches, right? But let's say that the sheetrocker used the roto zip and they damaged the conductors. So what would we do as an electrician? We would go and strip the wire, put a wire nut on it, and put an extension on it so that we can do that. So we want to explain to the sheetrocker why it's a bad idea to damage our conductors,
For sure,
because
sure.
they're gonna end up paying for that damage. And maybe if we could do something together, maybe put like a guard, maybe a plastic guard inside the box to protect our conductors. Something so that they know next time, oh, okay, let's not damage Martine's conductors next time.
For sure. Yeah, they could be more respectful. Let me say hi to Homer, the gringo, learning from you guys. I think it's Jason Construction. Thank you for being here. Sparky Brothers Brand, thank you. DJ Wanako, what's up, DJ? Goose Rod, JJ Sparkies. What up, Sparky? What's up? I was waiting the whole week for your response. What up, Sparky? And I'm still waiting. Okay, so let me know when you're gonna do that response about our topic from last week. So the next is the insight and applications of emotional intelligence versus IQ. IQ alone is not enough for success. Emotional intelligence plays a critical role in leadership, teamwork, and personal relationships. Emotional intelligence can be developed and improved, unlike IQ, which is relatively static. Number two, workplace success. Emotional intelligence is a stronger predictor of professional success than technical skills or cognitive intelligence. Leaders with high emotional intelligence inspire and influence others effectively, creating a positive workplace culture. Uh, Relationships. A strong emotional intelligence enhances interpersonal relationships by fostering trust, respect, and understanding. Empathy and effective communication are essential for resolving conflicts and building lasting connections.
That's a
Yeah,
lot of great information there.
for sure,
And
for sure.
and like I'll give you an example. So as a master licensed electrician, as an electrical inspector, and now as the chief electrical instructor for electricaltime.com. My knowledge of the code, is up there.
For sure.
So if you had to measure that on IQ, it's probably up there somewhere. But that doesn't mean that if you happen to be a code expert, that means that you know how to talk to people, and then you expect people to respect you. That's not the case.
No.
Because I can walk around with this book all day, and I can say, hey, I know the code. You have to listen to me. No, I have to be able to explain it to you in a way that we both can understand it, and a way that it makes sense. And that's what I do in class. And I a lot of times I get asked a lot of questions in class. And I could explain it, from the perspective of, let's say, if you were an electrical engineer, I would talk to you a little differently. But if you're an apprentice electrician, I have to be able to match and communicate so that you can understand me. And then when you talk to me, that I can understand you. Because a lot of times people don't use the right terms. I'll give you an example. When I first started, I told my boss, "Yeah, I installed the light switch box, and I installed the feeders." He's like, "What are you talking about?" "Yeah, I installed all the feeders." And he just would shake his head and he'd walk away. And then he would say to me, "Why do you call those feeders? Those are branch circuits." "Well, on the conductors that the power's coming from, we write the word feed on there." So I said, "Oh, it's feeders." So communicating
Yeah.
is such an important thing, because I could say something, but you might not have the same understanding that I have. Or
Yeah.
you might explain something and I have no idea what you're talking about, and that's a mismatch.
Okay.
We also talked about the relationships, and again, I think that's really important to understand that, when I go to a job site, I'm a team member. I am there to help you, the electrician. Now, if I happen to see the plumber doing something that's bad for the electrical installation, I will inform the plumber. I say, "Listen, we need to be careful about this. I understand you got your plumbing job, but you can't go ahead and create a big problem for the electrical portion." And then, I'll go and I'll show them the code book. Say, "Here,
Sure.
it's right here." We have to be able to work together.
Yeah.
And I think that all leads back into empathy. I
Yeah.
think empathy is
Understanding each other.
is the number one thing. And I think that, my being married now, we just celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary. And, being married has really taught me, about empathy,
Okay.
because if it was just me, I'm right, I'm right, I'm right, I'd be divorced at this point.
For sure.
But I had to learn how to stop talking, listen, and not say anything, not get mad. Because if I got mad, and I did it a few times, I didn't talk to my wife for over a week.
Yeah.
There was no dinner. There was no conversation. There was just a lot of doors slamming all the time. And I said, "That's not good." So that made me, a better businessman in being able to communicate
Yeah.
with people. And it's always the two people. It's you and the contractor. It's you and the plumber. You and the carpenter. You and the drywaller. So communication, I think, is key. And I think that's part of our emotional intelligence
Yeah.
that we must acquire if we're going to become a successful electrician. In your case, Martine, you're a successful electrical contractor. And
Yeah.
I'm
For sure.
sure that there's a lot of times you want to say something, but you stop yourself from saying it because you don't want to make the situation worse.
Yeah. I try to keep calm, and if there is a problem, I always try to figure out a solution. JJ Sparkis, he said, "Can I have your brain, Steve?"
Well,
He
there's
wants your
not much.
brain, Steve.
There's not much left up there. But you know what? You know what you can do? Um, you can go to my website,
Yeah, exactly.
electricaltime.com. Electrical. Okay, here's what I want you to do, JJ Sparky. I can give you some of my knowledge.
For
You go to
sure.
my website, electricaltime.com. There's that first button. It's called the online electrical classes. I want you to do that tonight. And then what I'll do next week, I will invite you to sit in on one of our Zoom classes for free. How about that?
That's a really good deal. He says he's working on it. He has trouble with that. Hi, Jesus, Mr. Red Wolf. Thank you for being here, Red Wolf. RP Chamber is here too. Hi, RP Chamber. Thank you for all your support. Triple A boys join. Free Freezy Electric join. Thank you. Thank you for being here, guys. He said he will do that after his exam, Steve.
Well, I think you should do it before your exam because, there's a lot of people that join my classes before the exams, and then we have about 2,000 practice exam questions on our computer platform. So that's a great way to help you get ready, better ready for the exam.
All right. Yeah. So JJ Spark is he's saying he's going to Wicca, get wired, get wired. I was on that. I was on Wicca too. JJ Spark is it's a good school. Yeah. So he's on a school. Yeah.
He's
Very,
going to
very
school.
good. If you're in a school and you want to go the extra mile, check out electricaltime.com.
You know,
Okay, Steve, let me see. I think we need to go with the other points on how to apply. It says health and well-being. Emotional intelligence helps in managing stress and avoiding emotional burnout. A balanced emotional life contributes to better mental and physical health. Education and early development. Teaching children emotional skills from an early age sets the foundation for success in school, relationships, and life. Social emotional learning programs in schools can improve academic performance and reduce behavioral issues. That's some of the points on how emotional intelligence can help us because sometimes we get the burnout, right? We get tired of it, and sometimes we get to that point where we're like, we're what I'm going to do? We're just tired, right, Steve? But if we identify these emotions, we can regulate them, right? And
so I know you.
see like, oh, I'm just tired. I'm just tired. That's why I'm having these emotions, right?
I think being an electrician, it can be very stressful.
Yes.
Once you start working, you're an apprentice. You have to listen to the journeyman. You have to listen to the boss. You have to do all these crazy things you never thought you were going to do, and there's always the pressure. You got to get the work done faster, 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 faster. Hey, how come it took you 2 hours to install that ceiling fan? And like, oh, it was a very complicated. I had to put it together. So there's stress and stress and stress. And then
Yes.
you learn over the course of time how to get the job done better and faster. But it's always a learning exercise. And you got to find a way to handle stress. The worst thing to do is when the boss is under stress to get the job done. And the boss is telling you, as the apprentice electrician, you got to get this work done. You took 4 hours. It should have taken you two, right? The boss knows what he or she's talking about because the boss was an apprentice electrician at one time. The
Yeah.
boss was a journeyman electrician. Now the boss is the boss. The boss is running a company. So I think the worst thing to do as an apprentice or journeyman is to stress out the boss even more. Don't ever yell at your boss. Don't ever yell at your journeyman. Just sit there and say, what can I do to be better? You know, I have to be a team member here. It's not about me, it's about the team.
Yeah.
And one way that I handle stress, and I have a pretty stressful life, I have a business, teaching electrical, and I'm always on the phone. I probably talk to about 30, 40, 50 people every day. And sometimes the stress really gets to me, and I'm reading the code book, I'm working on my presentations, I might be teaching a live class for CEU credits, and sometimes the stress becomes almost unbearable. So what I do, and you've seen this in my videos, I get on my motorcycle and I ride my motorcycle for about an hour, right? I
Okay.
stop thinking about everything. I get on my motorcycle and I go take a nice ride someplace. And I might stop and I might get a cup of coffee someplace and just hang out. And then when I get back, I feel that I'm better now. I can now deal with the stress levels. And it's not easy being an owner of a business.
No.
If you think, if anybody there that's watching, if you think that, hey, I'm going to have such a wonderful stress-free life, I'm going to become an electrical contractor. Guess what? You're working 7 days a week. You're working night and day. You're doing the estimates. You're doing the billing. You're doing the cash. You're buying the materials. You're doing the work. You're getting the phone calls from the inspectors, from the utility company, right? You don't know which way to go, right?
Yeah,
Right, Martine?
exactly. Yep.
Like what, Martine, what do you do? Like you're running an electrical contracting company. What do you do when you're trying to work and the phone keeps on ringing, the customers, the inspector, the utility company. Oh, it's Steve calling me now from electrical time. Oh no, I can't talk to him now. What do you do? How do you handle that stress?
Well, I just I take it a positive way because that's what I'm working for. You know, to have my customers calling me, and I'm really good. I'm always like checking my emails and checking my messages and checking everything on top of working. But yeah, starting on your own and just like myself, I'm the everything. I'm the receptionist. I'm the journeyman. I'm the helper. Yeah, exactly. Maybe starts trying. JJ,
Yeah. May
JJ, don't let me cry, man. Steve. Hey, they're gonna. This is why we're talking about this topic about emotional intelligence because I need more of that.
Have you ever
So,
been working on the ladder and you're trying to install the light fixture, right? And then your cell phone rings and you're
yeah,
like, I can't get off the ladder. So you're talking on your cell phone while you're trying to install the light, right?
yeah,
And you say, okay, what else can I do at this time before falling off the ladder,
yeah,
right?
for
But you
sure.
got you got to be able to manage all of that
Yeah.
and to do
Well, that-
your job. And your job, you're doing the work, you're managing the business, you're getting the estimates, you're buying the materials. There's a lot of stress
yeah,
involved, and
yeah,
then you got to report things to the government, for taxes and the insurances, the liability, the work. Well, I don't know about workers' comp and
yeah,
disability, but when you think about everything, it's enough to make you crazy.
yeah,
And the thing that I really love about you, Martine, is that even though you have such a lot of work on your plate, you come to class every week, and we have classes once a week for 2 hours, and you block out that time so we can study the code together.
for sure.
And I really admire you for that. Um,
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. We're all trying to get better. Small steps, they're helping us. You know, sometimes people get frustrated when the results they don't you don't see any results on all the work that you're doing. But every small step that you're taking to be better, it's helping you even if you don't see it. So Will is saying. J.J. Sparky said, I had that when I started all that stress in the beginning, like 4 years ago. Yeah. Will, you can be a leader even as an apprentice. Thanks to EQ. Thank you for this. Okay, you gotta find that happy place that helps you calm down. Yes, sir. That's truth. That's Team No Sleep, lol. Exactly. Yeah.
That's right.
JJ wants to make me cry, but I won't.
So,
Okay.
so
So,
Martin, when I think about emotional intelligence,
mhm,
and I see what you're doing there as an electrical contractor, I think you really you define what great emotional intelligence is. You've got it all together. You know, you've got your business, you've got your customers. You realize that part of your emotional intelligence is that there's a need for continuing education.
yeah, for
Just because you have your license doesn't mean that you stop reading this book. And what we do in class is like we almost like it's almost like a Bible study, right? But instead of the Bible, we're studying the code, right?
yeah,
And this week we got into some pretty interesting conversations in
for
class, you know,
sure.
where really I had to go back and I had to do research. I studied for 10 hours today on one topic. And I spoke to one of my friends who actually was sitting on the code making panels a couple of years ago. And we spoke for a good amount of time, clarifying my understanding versus his understanding, and that we're always learning. So I think if part of your emotional intelligence is realizing you always need to learn and you need to have a good support group of people behind you. And I think that's what we got when we study at electricaltime.com. At least once a week, we can take the break from all of the other stressful things.
For sure. So let's go to how to improve emotional intelligence. Number one, practice self reflection. Keep a journal to track emotions and patterns of behavior. Seek feedback from trusted friends or mentors. Number two, develop self regulation. We talk about that. Pause before reacting emotionally to situations. Use techniques like mindfulness or deep breathing to manage stress. Enhance empathy. Actively listen to others and validate their feelings. Put yourself in others' shoes to understand their perspectives. Build social skills. Focus on clear, compassionate communication. Work on teamwork and conflict resolution skills. Cultivate intrinsic motivation. Set meaningful goals that align with your values. Focus on personal growth and celebrate small achievements. And again, guys, this is from the book Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. Okay, so if you guys want to get it or you guys want to listen to it, Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. So we are done with the main points. Steve, would you like to add anything about this main points?
I, I think tonight's discussion was very important because while we learned the skills, how to be a great electrician, right? You know, you learn how to do a three-way and a four-way lighting circuit. You learn how to install a service. You learned how to install a standby generator with the transfer switch. That's the technical skills. Everything that we do, we have to communicate with other people. And those other people are going to be the customers, are going to be the other trades, going to be the supply houses. It's going to be your bank. Let's say you need to buy a piece of equipment. You know, you want to show that you're a stable enough business that they can trust you, that you need to buy that piece of equipment. And have that emotional intelligence, I think, goes a really long way in being a successful person in the trades, whether you're an apprentice, a journeyman, whether you're the master electrician or the electrical contractor, being able to communicate and listen with your two ears and know when to keep your mouth shut so that you can understand and have the empathy for that other person. I think it's critical.
For sure, JJ, you need to be open to learn, and you always have something to learn, even from people that are not on your trade. Yes, sir. Thank you for sharing, JJ Sparkis. Thank you, JJ Sparkis, for being here. Thank you, Steve. I really appreciate that you took your time to share with us your knowledge. You know, I love your class. I love what you do,
Thank you.
and really, when I started, I think. I loved it from the beginning, and I'm really happy to be your student. And I always recommend everybody that wants to keep up with the code and the changes and all that stuff. I always recommend electricaltime.com because you do a great job. You are a great teacher, and
Thank you.
we all your students, we love you.
Thank you very much. You know what? To be great at anything, you have to be surrounded by great people as well. So in my class, Martine, you're there. You're a great student, and there's a lot of good collaboration. This I
Oh,
really
for sure.
appreciate that.
Really smart guys are there,
There's a lot of smart people in our classes. Let me tell you.
for
So
sure.
again, if people would like to try out one of my classes, just go to my website, electricaltime.com. That first button, the online electrical classes. Fill out your information. I will call you, and then I'll get you into a class so you can come and check us out to see if it's going to be for you.
For sure. Thank you, Steve. Have a great night. Thank you, everybody, for your support. I hope you guys learn something and take something away from this topic of tonight, emotional intelligence. Thank you. Have a good night. Have a great weekend,
Thank you.
and we'll see you next week.
See
Thank you. Good night.
you
Thank
next
you,
week.
Steve.
Thank you.